Hello and welcome to the British Steam Locomotive podcast show series, episode 3, the magnificent and my personal favourite Bulleid Pacifics, Merchant Navies, West Countries and Battle of Britain classes. Sit back and enjoy these magnificent locomotives' history. The Southern Railway's last chief mechanical engineer was Oliver Bulleid. His first Merchant Navy class engine was unveiled in 1941, but there was a problem. Britain was at war, and he had to classify these Bulleid Pacifics as mixed traffic engines to overcome the embargo, even though he was in hot water with the government for building express engines when it was freight engines that are needed. So after the Bulleid Pacifics, he designed his Q1 class, the powerful 060. But let's get back to the Pacifics. They had modern features, such as an air-smooth streamlined casing, a firebox, a steel firebox with thermic siphons, a welded boiler, which was commonly known, a welded boiler, steel firebox with thermic siphons, American-influenced box-pock wheels, and also Bulleid's chain-driven valve gear. Contains a 40-gallon oil bath beneath the engine. And also a steam generator to power the electric lights in the cab and on the front, even including steam-driven features, steam-driven reversing gear, steam-driven firehole doors. Which is the most common sight? Most drivers claim that these engines would go much faster, comfortable to drive. They were prone to slipping when starting away. Legendary Nine Elms driver Clive Grimm said, when those drivers that took over those Bulleids when they were built in the 40s had been driving King Arthur class mostly, and those King Arthurs were as heavy as lead and never slipped whatever you did to them. But the Bulleid Pacific's streamlined engines were nicknamed spam cans. They slipped mostly all the time. They worked named express trains, such as the Atlantic Coast Express, the Bournemouth Belle, the Golden Arrow trains, and the Cunarder, and all sorts of trains they pulled out of Waterloo and London Victoria. Donald Beale, the legendary Somerset and Dorset engine driver, once described the original West Countries as the female of the species, the sort that will whisper instead of bark, but didn't like getting their hands dirty on coal trains. He may have had a point. These engines have 3 cylinders, 2 on the outside and 1 hidden in between the frames. Bulleid had become an apprentice with the LNER before he became CME of the southern region. He learnt all of Gresley's techniques and thought he'd design his own techniques to feature those of the LNER. But there were problems with these engines also. If you went to clean the oil bath, you get all over your overalls that were hard to come off. And also, getting to those parts in between the frames was hard as well. You had to be over a pit if you want to get in between the engine and climb in between the frames to reach the parts of the oil motion. But no doubt that these engines were easy and comfortable to drive. They burn more coal and they producing more steam and also burn more coal. but some of the oil baths caught fire. Not that much, but BR had had enough of Bulleid's so-called innovation. Clearly, a rebuilding program was the order of the day. The air-smooth casing, the change of valve gear was completely done away with, but more conventional shape and Walshart's motion. In the 1950s, between 1956 and 59, all the merchant navies were rebuilt, and the West Country and Battle of Britain classes were rebuilt between 1956 and 61. So clearly that was a fair enough rebuilt process, leaving 50 locos still streamlined as Bulleid had intended them. Even I moved to Ireland to invent turf-burning locomotives. In 19 well, there had been claims that these engines can reach 100 miles an hour, and getting there. Even BR timetables didn't accommodate it, and to prove that, one of the merchant navies reached 104 miles an hour on the Atlantic Coast Express between Andover and Salisbury. Driver Bob Deef claimed that these engines are fantastic engines to drive and fire. And, well, that engine that reached 104, well, it wasn't Orient Line, she reached 103. It was Clan Line, the engine I work with. In 1967, BR had organised two last steam specials. Well, three at least. 3 steam specials before the end of Southern Region steam in July 1967. A standard Class 5 and a streamlined Bulleid decided to take the train. They took the train from Waterloo to Bournemouth, and one pulled by Orient Line 35008 from Waterloo to Weymouth, and also 35028 Clan Line hauling the last steam hauled train out of Waterloo to Bournemouth. After being withdrawn from service, Clan Line was bought by the Merchant Navy Locomotive Preservation Society. Yes, I'm mentioning the preservation now. Clan Line was built in 1948 and rebuilt in 1959 as the last Merchant Navy class engine to be rebuilt by BR, and she's really a British Railways engine. There's a photograph of her in this podcast, of her in her original streamlined form, sitting alongside City of Wells, which has also been preserved. Clan Line had hauled famous British Pullman trains around the UK, even boasted a contract with the Venice Simplon Orient Express Company, which is now Belmont British Pullman. Other locos, like 31 Bulleids, escaped the cutter's torch. It's really enough, and 10 of which are spam cans. There are other locos like Tangmere, Braunton, and, well, as many as you can go on, really. Bulleids are fantastic engines that do anything, go anywhere. I mentioned enough locos as it is today. There's a long list of Bulleid Pacifics I could name, but I can't say it all tonight. So, hope you've all enjoyed this British Railways steam not British Railways, British Steam Locomotive podcast show. And the next engine I'll definitely do will be the Great Western Castle Class 460s, and the Kings included. So, that's all from me. Bye for now.